Okay, let's go take a look at the creatures. So over there, and I'll show you what they're all about. All right, but let me see when my test drone. The test drone is just for testing. It's not a flying drone. I have flying drones too, but I also have a helicopter now that flies. And if it gets enough power, it's winding up, and when it winds up enough, it'll take off. And then maybe this week I'll put a camera on the inside so you can fly it from the inside. But I have it. It's almost completely stable, not quite. It's getting there. All these, to get all the physics right is kind of challenging on these. But let's go see what these things are. So these are kind of like crab mutations here on Plutonium Island. I'll take a little closer look, and it's basically because on the far side of the island where the old nuclear power plant was, leaked plutonium into the sea, and it's created all kinds of crazy creatures all around these islands in here. So, but this one here, this blue one, let's see if we can get too close. We don't want to get too close to the red one. If we get too close, then he'll just come after us. But the blue one's kind of like would be like a rattlesnake. Relatively tame. You can, if you leave him alone, they'll leave you alone. But he does have a poisonous stinger, and he's got fangs. Now the red one, however, is kind of like a water moccasin. They just come after you. They just attack because they're aggressive by nature, and so you have to stay away from these guys, or they're trouble. But these guys are also food supplies, believe it or not. And you'll learn more about that when we get to the food factory. But for now, we better just get rid of this guy a little bit. They mutate, so they don't mutate. I mean, they replicate. So it's let's see if I can get him. I can't get him all the time. And then we'll go try this one out as well. See, just for performance reasons, we'll come around here. See how fast we can take him out. But let's see. I'm down to 35 frames per second. Well, that's not bad since I'm recording at the same time and I have a boatload of other things. A lot of other code is running. And I haven't tried to do any optimization. That always, for me, comes at the very end. It's kind of a fun thing to do. Alright, so these guys are working just fine. Oh, yeah. And they're the problem. See, these guys, they can show up anywhere. And it looks like he's floated somehow through into the compound. And then he's trying, that's why the compound wall's there, but obviously the compound walls aren't completely safe, and at nighttime it's definitely not safe on this island. Right, but these incoming bombers, they're the least of your concerns, because generally the missile battery take all these guys out at any given time if you activate them. But the challenge is if you don't keep them resupplied, so you have to zoom around the island with construction equipment and keep the roads clean and keep the missile batteries resupplied as well as other weapons. But then you have the dangers. You got to face the creatures over there, and also you have to collect gemstones around the island at the same time. And that's one of your ways of surviving. You trade those in or sell them down at the local flea market. And so there's a lot of bartering that goes on at the same time. So basically, you have access to lots of construction equipment and other vehicles, so you can build your own site and do all kinds of things, or get to places that you might imagine that you never would be able to get to. But the construction equipment and the drones will help you get there. And then over there at the tower, I have a jet. We'll take a look at that in another one. The jet's flying pretty well already, and it drops bombs. So you have to do bombing missions out to the adjacent islands where these creatures tend to congregate. They live in the lava tunnels and in the volcano areas and all around. So some islands are more dangerous than others. You'll learn about that as we go. And alright, well, that's a little quick preview of the creatures, and I'll see you in the next video.